Is
You all
John
are.
Adamovich around?
Yes,
He's with me,
we're
yeah.
in the rec office on the computer.
Cool. Okay, good. So welcome. So I guess we should officially get started. 5:09. All right. So good to see everyone. I know Mike, he contacted me late in the day. He couldn't be here for work. Now, I wonder if we should, there's a lot of background noise. Okay. So I want to first kind of check in with everyone. How are people doing through all of this?
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
It might be helpful if everybody mutes, or whoever's in charge mutes everybody except when when we need to talk.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mika. So is anyone needing assistance during COVID? Is everyone healthy?
Yes.
Yes, we're healthy.
Okay. Is everyone's family doing okay?
Yeah.
If I don't hear, otherwise I'll assume. Okay, good. Okay, good to see you all. So we wanted to have this meeting just to touch base because obviously a lot's been going on. And we wanted to touch base and let the commissioners know. John and I have been talking a lot. Smith and I have been talking a lot. And right now, Jim is out. He had surgery. And I understand from John DeMeo that he's doing well. And I think was discharged. This just happened yesterday. So John DeMeo is covering in Jim's absence. So we wish him well. Maybe we can send him a card to wish him well from all of us for round 2. I can talk offline to John DeMeo about that.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, there's also some sad town news that Jerry Kelly passed away. He was with Public Works. I'm not sure if everyone knows this. So he is Stan and Rita Gdansky's son-in-law, married to Sue Kelly. And we know them all, and their children have been involved in rec. And Beth, of course, has always run the preschool camp. So our hearts go out to Jerry's family. And I think it would be nice if they're very tied into the town and rec. Perhaps we could do something in his memory. And I'm not sure to have this discussion virtually. But perhaps it would be nice to do something. Johnny A., have you thought about that at all? I know we spoke briefly and wanted to do something in his memory.
No, I really haven't thought anything about it, but we could plant a tree or something in front of rec out here on the island like we did for Maryland.
I think that would be really nice. Okay. Do people think that that would be a nice way to commemorate? I think that would be really nice. So we can talk about how to fund that, and we can do that offline. Okay, thank you, John. That's a great idea. That's a great
You're
idea.
welcome.
Okay, and I guess initially I wanted to talk about, rec. For rec, we're really, what's our mission here? So to provide safety and wellness and fun programming and learning. And, many thanks to the rec department, everyone involved in rec for really supporting this ongoing mission through this really challenging time. We've had budget cuts, which we'll talk about, in efforts to support the town, support the townspeople through this time, because it's going to be a tough time for many people to meet their tax requirements. And so all departments have been reviewing budgets, and John and I talked a lot about Woodbridge Rec, and John really combed through that really very seriously. And in light of programs that we've had to postpone for now, he's really looked at that clearly. So I thank you so much, John, for all of your effort, and we'll talk about that. Okay. So today, yeah, bravo. So today we want to talk about, well, what's the impact on rec and what are we doing in terms of programs like camp and the summer concerts and the swimming pool and a whole lot of things that we offer to the community. The other thing that we can talk about is the really wonderful distance learning program that I know Teresa, I believe, has really spearheaded this, and John Michael and Johnny A. So there's a lot going on in spite of everything. So at this point, I think I'd like to turn it to John, and maybe you can speak to whichever topic you want to start with.
Yeah, I've got everything here. Concerts, let's start with the concerts, okay? They need to be controlled. Concerts have to be controlled. Our average is being 450 and 600 per concert, and it has to be social distancing, which we don't have the space. It's not a big area there, even though it is big, but when you have that many people, it's very tight. Food vendors, I don't know how we would contact food vendors and how we would set up food vendors, because you'd have to have, I guess one person serving and then the next person 6 people back and everything, if we do have that. Bathrooms, the building's closed. The building is not accessible. So we'd have to get bathrooms, but in doing so, bathrooms would have to have somebody there to clean. Every time somebody uses the bathroom, somebody would have to clean it, before the next person goes in to sterilize it before we go in like that. So it's really, really deep out of our hands, the cost of what we'd have to do to put on a concert like this. So as of right now, the concerts are canceled because we just can't actually run it or financially run it. So that's it. If I have any questions on the concerts. Oh, and we talked to the different concert presenters, and they're willing to do next year. They're willing to just roll it over till next year.
Great.
So we're all set with that. So we're set for 2021.
Great. Thanks, John. Yeah,
Okay.
it seems like the responsible thing to do, right? We really can't safely host this, and our town is working very hard to keep the town safe. And I know Beth, who's a retired nurse, knows a lot about the healthcare system and what we really need to be focused on. So,
and also at the concerts, we get people that are anybody over 60, 65 is your risk area, and we get at least 1/3 of our population that comes from the town that love to go there like that would be at risk, would be in the risk factor. So that's where we're at with that.
And as well as children, and then children bringing it back to grandparents or parents, so
Yes.
It's the right decision, John.
Okay. The next one is summer camp. We really sat down and we really looked at summer camp. We really went over it. And I have a lot of numbers and figures here for you. For us to run the summer camp, okay, we would have to have our own nurse. The school already told us if we were going to run a program that we could not use their nurse, we could not use their nurse's room. So we'd have to have our own nurse, our own nurse's room, and we'd have to have a sick room separate from their sick room, so there would be no crossover between camps. So that's a $5,500 cost right there. We have no supplies, so we'd have to supply, because we share the supplies with Beecher when we're there, and we'd have to come up with $1,000 for that. We have to have temperature. We have to take the temperature for summer camp. Now, I did a lot of talking with Stacy Katz, the school nurse, and she was telling me that have at least 2 people out front. The kids can't get out of the car. Temperature has to be taken before they get out, and those 2 people working out there cannot be part of your camp. They have to have on shields. They have to have on gloves. They have to have on a mask. They have to have on all safety protective equipment. Every day it has to be changed, and they have to take the temperatures out there, and they cannot be part of the camp. They cannot come back in and be a counselor or somebody like that. So we'd have to hire 2 people, and that's about $1,800 for that. PPE supplies, if we could get them. We finally found, John did a great job. He went on 7, 8 different companies. He finally found a company that said, we'll get it to you by June 29th. That's the opening day we had of camp, the 29th. And they said that would be the earliest we could, or July 29th, in between those two dates. So getting PPP supplies, we need like 60 gallons, 10 shields, 20,000 gloves, 48 boxes of masks. We need bio bags. It's a real big expense. Then we'd have to have a cleaning crew. Now, we already have a cleaning crew in our budget, but that's to clean the camp. But this cleaning crew would have to have a cleaning crew, Stacy told me, during camp. We would have to hire a company, kids to come in, or, I don't know if we're not kids or whatever you would hire, but we'd have to, if somebody used the game room, let's say, a group in the game room, the groups are cut to sizes of 10. You're only allowed 10. So that makes our groups of 10 groups, we have 10 groups. We'd have to hire 10 more assistants and 10 more leaders for the groups, and having only 10 in a group. And if 10 people went in and used the game room, before the next group can go in, it has to be cleaned. The entire game room has to be cleaned, and then the next group can go in. Same thing with using arts and crafts. If one group was in to use arts and crafts, it has to be sanitized before another group can go in. After camp, we have to have a supervisor, and we have to have 6 to 8 workers. The entire building would have to be cleaned. Now, subject to this, if somebody does come down with COVID, that group would have to be eliminated from camp. Everybody there, the workers, for 14 days, they have to go home. And then anywhere they went, if they went in the game room that day, if they went in the art room that day, those leaders would have been exposed to that person. They would have to leave camp or go home for 14 days. So it makes it really tough. To do it. So the overall cost, about $89,000 more than camp. Camp usually costs about $113,000, and we take in about 93. So the town subsidizes us $20,000, and now you're talking with $69,000 for culvert coverage, which gives us a $90,000 hole in a budget that we already cut $26,000. Our budget was cut $26,000 before all this started. And now you want to add back $89,000. It's not going to fly. It was just too much for us to handle. So we've gone to a virtual. My virtual director is Teresa Bonner, and she is going to be our virtual director, and she's putting together, myself, Joe Michael, John DeMeo. We're putting together a program where we have 3 40-minute periods. The first period would be history or education. Second period would be workouts, would be athletic workouts, and arts would be the third period. Different kinds of arts we would offer. Since we could cut our costs tremendously, we've dropped the cost to $30 a week, $180, and we've come up with a thing. If you sign up for all 6 weeks, you get 1 week free, so it's $150 for the summer, to help people out, because a lot of people aren't working and things like that. And if anybody needs help, we could always help them at rec, like we always do. The second child would be $20 a week. The third child, $10 a week. And anybody, if you have a fourth child, it would be free. Fourth, fifth, or sixth child are free to come to camp, to sign up and come to camp. Teresa's putting together the entire camp. She's putting together a Facebook page. You'd have to sign up with us, and then you get access to that page, and you can come in and you can join it and be part of our summer camp. So we're trying our best online to do whatever we can. We have almost 300 people right now utilizing all our programs that we have that we're doing. We were one of the first recreational departments to get online and get out there fast and get things out to people, because we just saw what was coming down the pike. And I give Teresa kudos for all she's done. She's really, really, really put this together and done a fabulous job of keeping us in the light and getting us on the town website and getting us different websites and our own website. She could probably explain more about exactly what she's doing for that. But basically, that's where we're at. I also sat down with Tony, since we're not going to be opening all summer. We're not going to be open for the summer. The town was looking for savings of cost in the new budget coming up. Since there's no summer camp, they're going to cut the 113. They're going to cut the pool for half a year. They're cutting the pool for half of the year. So that means the pool is going to be closed. That's a $38,000 savings. WSI instructors, sports leaders, half a year. The night gym, half a year. Gymnastics, 1/3 of a year. And the whole summer softball program would be gone. So we'd be saving the town with supervisors and all the different things we do, we'd be saving the town another $256,000 that would not have to be put into the budget. That would really help. And that means that we're not going to be opening probably, and it all falls down onto the COVID virus and where we're at. But right now we're looking at December opening, working at a winter opening. And that means the fitness center, the pool, everything. But if things change around and we're allowed to open up, because right now we're not even allowed to open the pool for the summer. We're not allowed, we don't have the space, we don't have the clean, we'd have to clean the locker rooms. The water would have to be 24 hours after a group goes in. Water would have to be just filtered or whatever they call it in the locker rooms. We don't have the space in the locker room. So even though we only have 10 going in, we could put 10 boys in. A couple would go in at a time. They'd go down. When they came out, the next group would be girls, and the boys' locker room has to be clean. And then when the girls come out, they go in the locker room. The boys' locker room is clean. They go in. The girls' locker room gets clean. So those are cleanings that have to be done before anybody can reuse the locker rooms between and after space. So it's really tight of what we're doing, but we're trying to get as much as we can online. We're trying to keep ourselves in contention with everything. And opening up of the fields, I talked with Tony. Tony and I have been in contact. We're looking at, if we do open up the tennis courts, they'll be open up one court on Center Road on the bottom two, and one court on the top two. It'll be singles only if we do reopen the courts as soon as we can. But I'm waiting for the second phase, the governor's second phase, because they'll have more rules and regulations that we have for summer camps and things like that. And you look around and you'll see some big camps, Holiday Hill and stuff like that, which may be opening. They have a full company of cleaning. They have their own full cleaning company, things like that. They're already into their budget. So, and they're also 10 times larger than our space and area that we would use. And remember, we're sharing the building with the school. That makes it tough because they're going to be using parts of it if we're going to use parts of it. But as it looks right now, I believe they're leaning this way we are. I gave them everything. Stacy Katz represented them, was explaining to them all the different things. And if just one child comes down with it, the whole program shuts down. And the building itself has to be shut for 48 hours. It has to be shut and cleaned down. The entire building has to be cleared and cleaned, and then it can reopen. And plus, we have no indoor space, so we would have no rainy day options. So if it's raining a day, last year we had 7 rain days, but we're inside the building. We had a great time. Kids move around. They play in the hallways. They play in the gyms. We double up groups in the pool and all that. We wouldn't be able to do that at all. So that's where we stand, and that's what we've been working on. This is not a decision that was made lightly. It took a while, and Andrea helped me out a lot, and we were able to get through this. If anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer. Did anybody hear me, or would I?
Go ahead, Smith. Smith, you have a question?
First, I want to thank Teresa. I know I see your name is there. I hope you're there and listening, but thank you very much for all your hard work. And John and everybody. I know John Michael's been doing a lot of work too, but thank you very much for all your work that you've done, even to adjust very quickly in March and offer the spring programs as quickly as you could. But hope Teresa can hear me. The question I had, John, is when you say December opening, does that mean that obviously all the fall programs will be closed, but the spring programs would really be like in January?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what would happen.
Okay.
That's what. And this all is in contingent on the governor's opening of the state and the state regulations, and schools. We don't even know if schools are going to be open if they're going to do it right now, or how they're going to do it. But I know it's 10 people to a group, and if we were to supply 10 people to a group and do our after school group at 10 people, we wouldn't be able to afford it, because usually anywhere between 15 and 18 kids, and we break even.
Right.
So and that doesn't matter if we don't break even.
Have you officially canceled the road race?
Hold on one second. Oh, we don't have a camera. Just show John a beautiful picture of the road race, for the starting of the road race. and everybody was 6 inches apart. That's the rule, right? 6 inches, not 6 feet, 6 inches. I believe the road race is going to have to be canceled because we have no control over how do we start the race, how do we get the race going. We have we have over 100 people in such
Right.
a small area and a small thing to get it going. It would be so different if we did have it. We just would have a race. There'd be no food. We just have the water. How do you keep people away? How do you keep, people finishing is fine because nobody finishes at the same time, but starting and getting the race started and
Right.
everybody getting going together is the hardest part. Yeah, so that looks like that might not be happening. We're not going to cancel that yet, but it looks like that's what's going down the road with that one.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I also wanted to echo many thanks to Teresa. I know you've been online a ton, and I caught a craft program you did around Mother's Day, but I love that you didn't just focus on mothers. It was for people that you love, and I thought that was just very all-encompassing. So I really like that. I know you've been doing a lot of story times and things. I would love if we could have a list maybe sent out to the commissioners of all the programs, and it might be ever changing. It would be nice for those who haven't seen it, seen the programs, to have a list that could be shared. And then once the camp program is squared away, all the programming that will be happening, John, that would be good.
Yes.
I had a question. Gosh, what was it? Oh, about the Facebook page. So I know we've been talking a lot about getting the word out, and I see we're on the main page, the Woodbridge page, and we should definitely be, if it hasn't happened yet, we should have all our stuff on the Woodbridge Facebook page. So Teresa, I know I've noticed through I guess the regular Facebook page or Bethany Woodbridge forum, we should have it all tied in as well to the Woodbridge Facebook page. And maybe those links can be shared on other Facebook pages so that everyone knows, where to find everything.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
What's that?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Teresa?
That's okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. What we try to do is, every single day, well, not every day. I plan out the stuff over the weekend. It's a lot of research behind it because we want to make it educational, but we also don't want to make it anything that's controversial, anything that, I don't want to use the word scary, but some things are scary, and I've become a lot more in tune to that now, having a young child. What our perception of scary is and their perception of scary are two completely different things. So it's actually a lot of work behind it, even if it is a 30-minute class. But right now we offer, on Mondays, I do story time because I try to start the week off a little bit easier. And then on Tuesdays, we have our STEM History 101. Our STEM classes we have on Thursday. Those are for elementary school students. And Wednesdays, we always try to do a safety, some kind of topic on safety. Fridays, arts and crafts, and Tuesdays and Thursdays are fitness. So we've been actually getting really, really good numbers. What I've been seeing is we found a sweet spot. Any class that's over 35 or 40 minutes, we don't get high numbers, but any class that's over 5 minutes, we get high numbers. So it's kind of like the range where the attention span is like 35, 40 minutes, which is good because that's what our goal is when we do the digital camp. But I mean, for like our STEM camp, STEM class, we get numbers of like 120. History, we get, I just ran them while we were talking, 111 is our average. Arts and crafts is 85. 82 is for the fitness with John Michael. Reading is 85. So we're getting pretty decent numbers. And let's remember, like always with Woodbridge Rec, we're doing this we're not spending money on advertising. We're not spending any money outside of the resources we have. So it's not like we're going out to a company or, doing any kind of thing special. We're using the tools we have at hand and, getting these people in. Some places spend money on advertising. But I don't even think if we would get more numbers doing that, because I think people see the quality of our content, and also you're seeing a real person that you know. And that's why they're watching it. And I try to make it as personable as possible. So I thank you for that comment, because everyone's family is unique and different, and we have to validate that, and we have to, celebrate that too. Your mommy and daddy and your view might be different than what it is my view, and I absolutely respect that. So, I mean, if you've seen any of my story times, I'll talk everything about being a vegetarian to you name it. So, so I think we've had a really good turnout. We keep it very safe. There's no comments allowed on there. Comments are only allowed by the moderator and the administrator. So if you do comment, you can comment on a video, but if you can't post anything on the page, because we know that there's children there. If you want to post something, you have to send me an email or send John Michael an email, and we have to review your post before we allow it, because we have to respect that parents are using this as a resource, allowing their children to watch it, knowing that it's a safe place, just like they let, have their kids go to our programs. So that's where we are right now.
Teresa, do each one of the classes have their unique Zoom number?
Yes, so they each have their own Zoom number, and also we have been, besides just doing Zoom at the same time, because I got quite a few emails from people saying, how do I start it? Did I miss it? This, like that. So we also go live on the page too. Because it seems
on the
right
Facebook?
On our Woodbridge Rec distance learning page, we go live on it.
Okay.
So we do both. Because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes the parents, it's, I don't want to say technology lacking. That's not, that's not a good terminology, but also they might be using that application for work, and they don't want their kids to play around with it.
Right.
I had a Kath on the phone today for 2 seconds while I was writing an email for work, and I found that she opened up like 3 different chats on my phone. So and she's only 2.5, so I can only imagine what an 8-year-old could do. So they, the same thing, you have to respect that, hey, they, might be using that for work, and they don't want to log into that. They might also, only device they have in the house may be a work computer or a work tablet, and they only, so we also have to make sure that we make it accessible as easy as possible.
That's great,
Thank you.
Teresa. That's great.
I'm sorry, I'm asking a lot of questions.
No, it's good.
The summer programs that have 3 different activities during the day, are they, do they have unique Zoom members too, or is it one Zoom member for all 3 classes?
So I have my account, John Michael has an account, and then John DeMeo is going to be helping us, Chris, and stuff like that, because I don't want it to just be the John Michael and Teresa show. So where people just get tired of seeing our faces. Even though, I mean, how could you get tired of looking at us? But still, they do have them password protected. But
Okay.
we also are gonna ideally go live in the group too, and we'll know, because I hope John will be able to pull a roster, so he'll tell us. And what I'll do is basically a batch every Sunday. So say you signed up for 1 week, right? And then they rolls, Sunday night rolls around, and we saw that you didn't sign up for week 2. We'll just send you an email and say, hey, we saw you sign up for week 1, but you didn't sign up for week 2. Are you still interested? If not, could you tell us what things you would like to see us change, and send them like a survey?
Gotcha.
And then go from there. If they say, hey, I just can't afford it, then that's something we'll bring to the attention of Mr. Adamovich, because we don't want any child to miss out on something. And the categories, I want to do them like periods, like we would a traditional camp. I want the first period, though, to be educational, second fitness, and third the arts. So educational, we've seen quite a huge interest in things like STEM. A lot of things in our history of 101, they're very interested in. When I mean like arts, I don't mean like arts and crafts every day. I'm thinking things like, photography with your smartphone or tablet, storyboarding, how to write your own play, what are impressionists, what are different kinds of artists. So we're not just talking arts and crafts. We're not just making stuff with paper plates, but we're also learning how to do, different things. And the fitness aspect, I know John Michael has a huge handle on that.
Right.
I would speak with the subject expert. And the education portion, I mean, I have really cool things figured out, like the who, what, and where about certain topics. Also, what I want to be when I grow up is one, we have it. I did an interview with a beekeeper. I don't know if any of you guys watched it. He's actually a friend of Patrick's, and he has that was actually his daughter, and those are his hives. And we're actually reaching out to the fire department, police department, and veterinary cooks and stuff like that to have them do 5-question interviews and have kids submit questions. We'll tell them the topic ahead of time, what they would want to ask these people about their profession.
Nice.
That's my ideas.
I'm sorry, go ahead,
No,
Smith.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Your turn.
I was just gonna ask, during the camp, Teresa, do you think you'll be able to keep such a vibrant virtual distance learning as well at the same time?
Yeah, I think I'm a pretty vibrant person. I hope I am, or at least I am for the
You
camera.
are. I mean, do you think you can will you be able to juggle doing both? Because I know you're doing a lot of the coordination and overseeing of all this as the director of this.
I have to say, Mr. Adamovich and I had a long talk about that before. He didn't just assume that I was going to do it. He asked me, and we really talked about it, because he said to me, Teresa, I don't want you to get burned out. And if it was something, because I've been there for such a long time, if it was something I couldn't do, I would be honest with him and tell him. I wouldn't want to put anything out of a lower end quality. That's not what I do. So, I mean, I told him if it became a problem, but I don't see it right now, even with, I'm working remotely from the company I work for. So, I mean, I don't see it being a problem for me at all. And, if like anything, even like with the pool, if you plan out things appropriately, and we already have a calendar set up, we're already starting to map things out. If you plan it out appropriately and, follow the steps, it's going to go well.
Okay. And if we know of anyone who may want to do some virtual class teaching, anything like that, should we send them your way, and then you can kind of determine if you think they're appropriate for doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We would love it. When we're open to anything. And the reason why I say we review it, it's just because I don't want parents to also feel like, because I know what parents are going through. I mean, just today, 120 people were laid off at, a company that I even used to work for in this state. So people are still getting laid off. So it's, we also need to want people not to feel like they're getting hit up to add on more things because the camp is cheaper,
Right.
So we want to make sure that, it's appropriate content. And I know our teachers are appropriate, but again, you still need to have someone monitoring it.
Sure.
The saying always goes, 1 is none, 2 is 1, so, we always like to just make sure that it's of the same mindset that Mr. Adamovich and I are at for the kids. And,
Of
we
course.
also
Yeah,
talk
I was
about
gonna
other stuff.
Yeah, we're still, as we're very careful with the staffing, right? The staffing procedures, this is a representation of rec and for our town, so we want to, make sure it's all appropriate.
My mom said to me as a young child when I walked out the door, remember, when you walk out this door, you're a direct reflection onto me.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Teresa, just something to think about.
Yes.
If the SEP program is not running, or even if it is running, there's a lot of teachers there that will be looking for something to do. So, for example, I was supposed to work there for 3 weeks also, and I'm looking for something to do, but
That's fine.
I know, but there are plenty of people that are working, that are planning to work there, that will be reaching out to a few other people, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We love the help and we love the support. And we don't want it to just be a 3-person circus.
Right.
We just want it to stay organized. We also don't want a lot of cooks in the kitchen too at the same time. But we're
Gotcha.
more than welcome to anybody about any topic, and we can fit it in. Absolutely. The more the better. And, is if I still want to keep those 3 periods, I think it's good. And,
Yep.
while looking at this stuff, as I can see with the responses we're getting about the STEM and the history, parents, they still want their kids to learn. I mean, I see these STEM camps, these coding camps online, and they're very, very popular. And that's how you get ahead for the school year. And, we don't know what the school year is going to look like when these kids go back. Are they going half and half? What's happening? We don't know. So, it's always good to, and learning never stops. That's my belief. But, and I would love to also try to see if we can incorporate some things. I know we were running the camp, and I'm going to reach out to Megan to see if there's any content that she can think of that we can help her provide for, like, a special needs, to still include that, because we don't want to exclude anybody, in this kind of experience.
Yes, good point, Teresa. That was something I was going to add, that I understand human services, I believe, and Nancy Fund could speak to that. I believe they may have some financial support that could be helpful for Camp Hero. So it would be really important to reach out to Nancy from Human Services. If someone from Rec could do that and see what can happen there. They may be able to provide some financial support for Camp Hero.
I've known Nancy since I was a very little girl, so I mean, I'll send her an email and start that communication with her. I just wrote myself a note and see where we can go from there, because I think, especially when we have it set in this kind of format where it's accessible to anybody, doesn't matter if you're able-bodied or not, or whatever your needs are, I think it's important to make sure everyone's included.
Definitely. The other thing, I also just wanted to address, a lot of focus on kids, and all of the adults also need support during this time, right? And I know that, for example, this is a paid program. Bill Bannock has continued all of his yoga programming and Tai Chi. I understand he's going to do a ninja yoga, is that right, in camp, or through the distance learning? I'm not sure, but these programs, you can still enroll in those through the Rec website as well. I'm not sure if there are any other adult, programs for adults to keep everyone healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was actually thinking about doing is, I know in the beginning of this, not this, 2019, it was in the middle of it, John asked me to put together a program, and I actually, it's slipped my mind. I'm pulling it up on my files right now, what I actually called it. And it was actually called, it was a healthy living program. Let me see here. And I was thinking about creating a separate page, per se, for, I don't want to say for adults, but just so that they would actually have a place that's not full with kid stuff, and not the Live Well program. There it is. And nothing's wrong with kid stuff, but there needs to also be an outlet just for adults. I mean, you have some adults that they don't have that age group in their lives anymore, and they're not interested in seeing that, and we have to respect it. So we can have a page connected to the Rec page that highlights those adult programs where he's offering them. And we can call it, Live Well page. So where we can offer things like, if we had adult, say crocheting, and adult yoga, or meditation, Tai Chi, all that good fun stuff, and feature it on that page so it doesn't clash with our younger guys.
That sounds great. I mean, that's happening anyway. The yoga Tai Chi is happening. That's interesting to offer that up. Mary, did you have something to say? You're muted, Mary.
Teresa, I need some new recipes for living well, too.
Well,
I'm getting sick and tired of the same old things, because, I mean, as soon as we went in this lockdown business, I was like, okay, the weight's going to go on. I got to stay healthy here.
This is the first time in my life I've lost weight, and especially being locked down. But I just think it's because I don't have time between the kids. To be honest with you, yeah, absolutely. That's a great thing. I've actually wanted to get someone to do some kind of cooking or cooking tip. We're trying to have people limit them going out, and I get that, but I really would love for adults to have some kind of cooking or recipes. And it's, all kinds of food, not necessarily, vegetarian or meat, everything. And I think that's a great idea. I want to add that onto the adult page. The adult page, I wanted to have like a full circle of like yoga, fitness, eating, workout things. Like, hey, recommend a workout plan or the workout plan for the day. I think would be a great idea.
I just need new ideas. I'm like, okay, it's Saturday. Yeah, it's the same as Thursday was.
Well, we eat a lot of tofu, so I don't know if I can help you there.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. It's just I'm getting bored with what I'm cooking.
Circulate those recipes.
Exactly.
Are you getting bored of the interview? No? No, okay. Well, Catherine likes what she's eating, so I guess I'm happy.
I'm just trying to think if there's any other, I know John mentioned earlier on that he had already made a cut of $26,000 before this new larger cut. And our goal is always to continue the programming. There were cuts made. I mean, now it's a little bit of a moot point right now, except just to know that cuts were made in terms of the amount of time, though preserving the programs for both the adult swim times and the fitness center, to keep those going, but to kind of work with the hours a little bit and look at when are the most densely used hours. So that's what those cuts were around. As it happens, all of that's really going to be postponed until December, depending on what happens with COVID. But I just wanted to address that because I know people, wonder what's being cut, what programs are being cut. So I just wanted to kind of put that to rest a little bit, that no programs going forward are planning to be cut after this, in terms of that. We'll see what the future brings, but that's the current plan. John has been very careful about trying to maneuver and make it so that we can offer fitness programs. And this goes along with what Teresa's saying in terms of this living well. The fitness centers is a big piece of that living well, and reaching out to people who really see that as a lifeline in many regards. So we want to keep and support as many of the adult programs to keep our older population healthy and thriving, as well as our young children, and all in between. So just wanted to mention that.
Good point.
I was wondering if Mika could update us on anything going on in the town that we should know about.
Well, most of what's been happening, Smith, has been related to the budget. They did adopt the budget as of last night. It reflects basically a 1% reduction in spending from last year, 1.04, I think it is, but it's approximately 1%. And that's largely due to the efforts of all the departments, but in particular, the rec department and the library who, with their part-time help. And John went over exactly the details of what it was. So let me echo what everyone else has said. It's an important time for us to do the right thing. And it's really appreciate the fact that Matt went out of his way to thank the different departments like rec for their efforts in doing this, so that we can, in this time, reduce the overall spending, which is really what this effect is. Aside from that, Beth, as Andrea had indicated, is doing her best to make sure communication continues in regards to what's happening as relates to the crisis, the COVID crisis itself. And we've been meeting on a somewhat regular basis. We have another meeting this week to talk a little bit more about the Darling House, so we can continue things going there. So Beth is really trying hard, and the board, all the boards are trying hard to keep things moving in town so as to be able to kind of pick up once things, if and when things do settle down a bit. But if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer anything specific, but those are primarily what's been going on. And as I say, the budget is the biggest thing that's been going on. It is an adopted budget at this point in time.
Thank you, Mika. Yeah, actually, Ellen left because her connection was so bad she couldn't hear, but she actually already mentioned that she really wanted to thank Rec for all of the work in the budget cuts. And yeah, she also mentioned that the Rec was recognized last evening during the budget meeting. So well done. What else? Is there anything else? I know some people haven't had a chance to speak. I'm not sure if people have concerns. Kim, Jane. Anything else?
Andrea, one thing that I did want to just add, and it's just something for people to communicate, generally speaking, is another thing that Betsy and Beth have been trying to communicate as much as possible is the support of the businesses and the restaurants that we have in town from a local perspective, whenever, if you are looking for something where you do need to go out or grab something, to try to support the local businesses as much as possible, because they, needless to say, are all in a pretty bad way right now.
Yeah, thank you, Mika. That's a really good point. Okay. There was something else I was going to ask, and I'm slipping my mind right now.
Mika, is the town hall currently open?
I'm sorry, say again?
Is the town hall currently open at all?
Well, there are people who have been reporting to town hall throughout this. It's not open for general business. Most things are done by appointment if it's necessary to see people. And honestly, Smith, I thought of it today. I'm not sure what happens as of tomorrow with the 20th with the, with the governor's recommendation. So I can't answer for specifically if departments will be open tomorrow or not.
Okay, thank you.
But for the most part, if you call, if you need something done at town hall, there are people there and they can't take care of it. It's just a good idea to call before.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Oh, also, actually, speaking of which, Mika, I know probably everyone knows that if people are having problems in terms of financial problems and need an extension for paying taxes, they need to file that request by July 1st, and there's could be an extension till October. And that's on the town website, right? All that information.
That's correct, Andrea. Thank you for picking that up.
Yeah.
It was a deferment that does allow folks to defer their payments until October with no interest penalty. But it is important that they submit for that, as Andrea said beforehand.
And did we say that actually the camp dates? John, the camp dates are June 15th through July 24th. Is that right?
No, it's going to be, yeah, we changed it. It's going to be the 22nd through the 31st of July. The reason why we moved it back is school is held all the way up until the 12th. I forgot about, they're doing school. So they get out of school on a Friday. It gives us a week to everybody to sign up, gives us a week of signing up. So we pushed it back to the 22nd to the 31st.
Great, that makes sense.
That's what it originally was.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
And I was also going to say one thing that you and I had talked about is maybe we can still do a camp t-shirt. It's not our typical camp, but maybe they're having some design contest or, I know I've heard and through the Facebook page, people are really lamenting that children who would be counselors or volunteers are missing that experience. But one thing, I don't know if we have any young artists or people who like to draw, or if we want to come up with some kind of T-shirt that people could participate, and that could be a T-shirt that would be given to anyone who participates this summer. I know you and I spoke of this.
Yeah, Teresa, I know you're not, Teresa, I know you don't do that much. You're resting right now, but if you'd like to help us and set up a page, or as a joke, Teresa, you do so much for us. Maybe help us out on one of the pages and say we're going to have a T-shirt contest, and people could submit their drawings to us and we could look at them and then go from there.
That would be a great idea. And I also was thinking about, and I was going to talk to John Michael about it because he works with that youth group that would be volunteers, that maybe, and again, I was going to touch base with you about it to see, with these volunteers, maybe we can offer maybe like a 3-day or like just an hour spot, a 3-day separate class about leadership. To help them have something else to write down on their resumes, these young people, because they wouldn't become volunteers at that age, and just to help them write down something else, to add on to it. Also, the Red Cross has allowed virtual training, so some of those things I know he's, if he, I don't volunteer John Michael for stuff when he's not here because he'll kill me. But they're also allowing CPR virtually, so we can actually add that as a component to the volunteer, and they pay a small fee for the certificate because you would have to regardless, and that's something that they maybe can add to their toolbox of things, even though they're missing out. But I think he would be a great person to talk about leadership skills because he works with that age group so much year round.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another good point she made was if you're not here at a meeting or something, you miss a meeting, you get assigned things. The other day we were assigning colors for the chart, and when you see your color, that's what you have to do. And Jermichael ended up getting pink because he wasn't at the meeting.
It's a nice color.
There you go.
So many ideas.
Yeah,
What a creative.
Yeah, we're taking the ball and running with this.
Yeah.
I got to give kudos to Teresa and Chris. Chris is helping her, backing up with everything. She's there, baby. She's there, and she's got it, and she's doing it. And John Michael and John, they're really pushing forward. This is all new territory, and we're going to make it happen.
I know.
This is our 56th year. 56 years. I haven't missed a summer camp in 55 years, straight summer camps. This will be 56. So this is new for me too. This is it. I called Bob in Florida and already told him. He already came. Bob called me, texted me back and said to me, he says, a scavenger hunt. You can do scavenger hunts. Kids can go out in their yard and like this with their parents. And their parents sign off on like this. And then you sit. If you get
John, are you rapping or is something wrong with the phone?
20 things, you get 18 or 15, you get a gold star or something like this. It's just different things.
So I'm gonna recap because we talked about it.
So that's basically it.
He was talking about a scavenger hunt. Him and I talked about it. Also, another idea I had for the virtual campus, because back in the day, Mr. Adamovich used to dress up as a different thing every single day. So we're going to take some of the old pictures, and we are actually going to make them as a announcement every single day, and make it so that we have different themes, and use those pictures.
That's great. I was actually thinking of that. I'm wondering if John is going to show up virtually with like a cow next to him or a goat, or we remember those wonderful days of the funny man, greeting all the campers.
Yeah. I've got about 70 photos on the back door.
Wonderful. I think that's great.
The opening day one, I already picked it out. I told you to do it. I was toilet paper made in one day.
Can't really hear you, John.
So,
it's coming in and out.
Do that. Yep, we're gonna do it.
Teresa, you could put his face on jib jabs and you can post them every day.
Yes, I was thinking about that.
Shut off.
So
No,
you could do it in doing gymnastics or soccer or anything.
I was like,
Had a thought here. What about virtual running club, John? Where
Do
the
it all the
kids,
time. I'm on my couch and I'm thinking about running all the time.
no, but you know how the running club runs in the fall up at the cornfields? Be part of the summer stuff where they go run a certain amount and then they turn it in. So you're like each
Yes,
week.
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll give that to John Michael. That's a good one. That gets part of rec back into it again. That's a good one.
They can use
Down. We're marking that down.
the Map Their Run app, and then it adds it up every day.
oh, wow.
That's good. Yes.
And then automatically
See,
does that.
this is how it works. So you guys, even once this meeting's over or something like that, and you have suggestions, please email them in. Well, we don't have an email right now at Rec, but you get them to us, and all these suggestions just help us build and build and build.
You can email them to me. If you guys don't know my email address, it's woodbridgetownpool@gmail.com.
It's Woodbridge, sorry, Teresa, can you say that again?
woodbridgetownpool@gmail.com.
woodbridgetownpool@gmail.com.
Teresa, and we'll get it to the right people, and we'll get it done.
I
Great.
don't want to,
Running club is a good suggestion. I never even thought of that.
because John Michael like runs every day like 4 miles. I mean, I run, but it's just after a toddler, so you just show you like.
Well, I just have noticed it in my neighborhood. I'm out walking, but I'm seeing families running. I'm seeing dads and kids running. Bicycle club. I'm seeing a lot of bicycles out right now.
Yeah, we could do a running club. Sounds good. And then they, like Smith said, put it on their phone and add it up. After so many miles, you get a certificate. Recreation sends you a certificate. We can mail a certificate out to them. That's excellent.
And you could do Map My Run also. I'm Map My Bike. Sorry, Map My Ride is called. I think they do the same thing with bicycles.
Smith, you might have to be a consultant for some of this.
I've been doing 12 weeks of this already, so.
So you're an expert. And then if we're doing some kind of biking, we might want to do like a biking safety, little primer about helmets and all that kind of stuff.
That can be one of the camp days, the first camp day, your safety on your bike.
Yeah, there could be safety tips. Yeah. Keeping your mask in your hip pocket and, just various safety things. Make sure your tires are pumped up, whatever, we could do something like that. Maybe Amity Bike, speaking of local businesses, maybe they could team up with us in some way. I don't know. Just a thought.
Well, I could do vegetables. I could be like couch potato man.
My God.
I couldn't really hear that. I'm sure it was
Potato man. He said.
Potato Man. Yes. We're getting slap happy now. Is there
What I
is
what I want to ask with everything, and and I've been discussing this a lot at my workplace, and what everyone still has to be aware of, and I just echo this everywhere, is I know we see the numbers are going down, which is great, but the whole purpose of everyone self-isolating and quarantining is this exact purpose. If nothing happens, that's the whole goal. Because I know when people get excited when they see these numbers, but these numbers can very easily go back up if we go directly back to what our quote unquote norm was previous to this, when this all started. So again, I still urge everybody, just because other places are opening in other towns, and you look at our town, maybe we'll end up being the role model of the way it should have been, just like recreation is going to be the role model of maybe the way it should have been. And, we always side on safety, but even ourselves in our everyday life, we have to be very cautious of how we're feeling and, where we're going and, how we're interacting because, these things can turn very quickly. And I have a lot of friends myself that are nurses, and it can turn around very, very quickly. And the nurses, even that were on the NICU team for the babies, for the twins, were telling us that how they were moved to COVID floors because they're specialists in respiratory therapy. And we're taking nurses that needed for premature babies now to take care of COVID patients. And, where's that balance? So we need to still do our part, which we are doing for the community, but even ourselves. I know you're probably going to get feedback from the community saying, oh, well, the numbers are going down. It's getting safe, X, Y, and Z. That's the whole purpose. They're getting safe because everyone's staying inside and doing what they need to do. So there's my PSA.
Exactly. I totally agree and support that. Yeah. Any,
I'm not quite sure how this would be done, but I just came up with another thought of like if you had a group of kids in camp that wanted to play like virtual horse, where they play in their driveway against other people, and by the end of the week, did they come out with horse? The basketball. I'm not sure if I could do it. I'm not sure I could handle it, but I think it'd have to be on the honor system.
Not how Wi-Fi works outside, or how it does. I'm not sure.
I tend to, now that I'm walking my neighborhood, I see lots of people.
That might be a tough one.
Okay, well, I see a lot of people with basketball hoops. That's why I kind of thought about it.
Well, we'll put our heads together and see if we can come up with something. I'll talk to John Michael and somebody always has a different look at it and comes out with a solution, which might help.
It seems to be my son's go-to thing these days to get outside. I'm gonna go play basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, we also canceled our athletic camps. We had wrestling, which you can't
John, I'm not sure what's
have.
up. John,
That's
John,
a contact sport. And then we had basketball. And basketball, bringing them inside and everything. What's that? You can hear me?
John,
Hello?
every time you speak, you're breaking up, and I don't know if anybody else can understand, but it doesn't seem like something's up with the way it's working.
yeah,
Okay.
now I heard you. Try again.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can
Hello?
hear you. It just seems like when you're conversing, like when you're saying something for a long period of time, it breaks up. So, but seems fine now.
All right. Yeah. Basketball camp canceled because the control of a basketball, if somebody's basketball rolls over to somebody else and things like that, that was one of the reasons that I found online that they were doing it. But I saw a soccer camp up in Bethany at that soccer place, and they had
You're breaking up again. You're breaking up again, John. Huh, it was fine at the beginning.
6 kids on the field spread apart. And they had 6 stations. And the coach was in the middle of the field with a megaphone. All right.
I think we lost them again.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So I guess if people have ideas, Mary, keep them coming, and everyone, send them off to Teresa, Woodbridge.
Mika, get us a new computer.
Right.
Still no computer,
Sorry.
John, huh?
Yeah, right. So there's no, right now, the computers are down in town. So if you're trying to email, maybe John, when everything's up and running, why don't you send out an email to everyone saying, okay, we're back in business. So that way we'll just know what's what. But meanwhile, if there are ideas, send them to
I'll definitely
Teresa.
send an email.
Yeah. Send them to Teresa Woodbridge, townpool@gmail.com in the meantime. And hopefully things will be up and running sooner than soon. Is there anything else that anyone feels they have questions about or concerns about that we haven't covered? This is an opportunity.
Andrea, if you don't mind my asking, what's the particulars on the computer? In light of, I'm just thinking it's a great time considering the efforts that have been made in terms of cutting back and things on the rec department. Maybe it's a good time to leverage it. John was saying rec needs a new computer. I'd like to call Tony tomorrow and see exactly what we're doing about that. Again, I know we've mentioned it in the past.
That would be, yeah, that would be terrific. Yeah, we want rec to have, there's all this programming. It's nice if it can.
But can someone send me the particulars? Like, what are we really looking for? Does Tony already know that?
John DeMeo, would you have this information?
Something that turns on.
That's a good first. Maybe we can go a little step above that.
Well, I'll talk to Tony.
I know Jim and John needed a new computer.
With cameras.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
A little. It's hard. Okay, so how are we going to coordinate this? So
I know, so John, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'll talk to you. So John, Mr. Adamovich, his computer is you could chisel quicker on a rock, to be honest with you. And then Jim is the main one. John DeMeo and I have been sharing one, which is fine. We keep ours, no one really uses it besides John DeMeo and I. John, I know Jim needs I don't know what version of Windows they're using at Town Hall, but pretty much everybody is using 10 at this point. I'm pretty confident we're still using 7 in the rec office. John is the same way, his computer. It's not an abuse thing. It's just, it's so old. And it would be nice if they had some capacity to even be able to add a webcam onto it if they wanted to, not built into the computer, because of course they're desktop, but their computers that they have now wouldn't even be able to handle it.
Okay. Thank you. I'll reach out to Tony tomorrow, and I'll make sure if he doesn't have enough information to do something about it, just that he reaches out to either John or one of the Johns.
And I wonder if it would be essential for running the summer programs.
Right, with everybody having, yeah. I mean, we joke about it, but it's time.
Yeah.
Let's get something done.
I've been using my own computer. It's just because not knocking anybody in the office. I love John and I love everybody there and John DeMeo, but my babies were born 2 months early. So even though they're 5.5 months old, they're really not. So Patrick and I are extremely cautious. So we try to limit who we go around. Not that we don't love you guys, but we're me sitting in a school is not my prime spot right now. So
of course,
totally
understandable.
agree.
Yeah, everyone should be taking precautions, that's for sure. But yes, Teresa. Yes, totally. So Pika, thank you for advocating for this. This if we can't get new computers now, I agree. Tis the time.
Will do.
Thank you. Anything else? Anything, Kim or Jane, do you have anything to add? Okay.
I think I'm okay. Listening in to everybody.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Kim.
I said I'm good. Just listening to everybody.
Okay, good. All
hi
right.
Kim.
Hi, Jane.
I'll be in a meeting with your husband later.
And Smith wins the award for the coolest background. Nice backdrop there, Smith.
Thank you. I got a cheap flight.
Yeah, this is the time to get a cheap flight. Where are you?
Yep.
Like the Alps or something?
I think I'm in wine country somewhere.
Very nice. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, Johnny, well, we can't really hear Johnny. Is there anything else? If not, I would make a motion to end our meeting at 6:19. Any,
I second it.
okay, Mary. All right. Everyone in agreement?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. Well, great to see all of you. Miss seeing you guys. And we'll talk offline about some of the things that we discussed earlier. All right, be well, stay well, everyone stay safe. And take caution as things begin to open, as Teresa strongly recommended. All right, thank you all for coming out for
Everybody,
this
thank
special
you.
meeting.
Bye.
Bye.